So what's good, Team G fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel, man. Salute. So Rand Paul humiliates, and they got it in all caps. Humiliates Whoopi Goldberg, aka Mary Clarence, because I can never not see her in the nun uniform from Sister Act. Wasn't it Sister Mary Clarence? Wasn't that her name? Whoopi Goldberg to her face after she asked a stupid question. All right, so we're gonna get into this video, man. And are y'all familiar? What's their show that they do? Because I never really watched the show, but I always see like viral moments, little snippets from the show that you see around social media. And normally it is involving Whoopi. It definitely is involving Whoopi in some shape, form, or fashion, right? So we're gonna check this video out. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that subscribe button and join the fam. And here we go.
Background check. I just want to ask.
Background
check. I just want to ask you this because I'm a gun owner. You know, I don't mind that you know that I have a gun. You can come in my house and look for you. You can get all whatever you need. I don't understand why anyone objects to getting rid of automatic weapons. Automatic weapons, they're not for hunting. They do nothing. They're only there to kill. And you'll notice that a lot of the things that have happened with automatic weapons. When we see that, why don't we say, you know, who really needs to have one other than people who are at war?
Wait a minute. Why is he's irritated already? He's irritated.
And you'll notice that a lot of the things that have happened with automatic weapons. When we see that, why don't we say, you know, who really needs to have one other than people who are at war?
Yeah, what is
Truly automatic weapons we don't have. You know, we banned truly automatic weapons, I think, in 1930.
Oh, snappy. I didn't think he was going to correct her. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you're on TV and you know somebody made a mistake in saying something, you kind of let it slide. I didn't know he was going to come back and hit her with, you know, right off the bat, answering that portion of it.
Still got a lot.
Truly automatic weapons we don't have. You know, we banned truly automatic weapons, I think, in 1930.
But we still got a lot of them, right? Come on,
well, what we have is not automatic weapons, so we have semi-automatic. So they fire in a fairly fast sequence, but you can't pull the trigger and they come like a machine gun. Those are no longer out.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know
what it is that there's a repetitive fire. People do hunt with them, and people do also shooting and sport shooting and target shooting and things with these guns. And come to Kentucky, and I'll introduce you to there are a lot of people who like and enjoy this as a sport. But the other problem is if we're going to take away ownership of specific types of guns, you really have to modify something that big as to either be legislation or even possibly a constitutional amendment. We can't allow one individual to do it. And here, I'll give you an example why. Let's say we had a terrible president that you didn't like from another party, and that president said, The View, you should hear the things they're saying on The View. We should limit their speech. We should register the journalists, and then we should have an approval board.
Like Kanye said, man, no one man should have all that power. You get what I'm saying? So just like he just said, you know, if you do have a president that comes along and is just a terrible person, vile, vitriol, just immensely, it's just bad person, right? And he decides to say, hey, this is what I want to happen and this is what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? You'll be upset. So it needs to go through the proper chain. I do agree with that. It needs to be, you know, brought amongst and discussed and talked about amongst a few, not just one person singling out one person like that. That'll never be good. You know what I mean?
We should limit their speech. We should register the journalists, and then we should have an approval board. And you know, that's silly. We would all be opposed to that. But that's the danger of letting a president make the rules. Even if you agree with what he's doing now, you should worry about having a president have so much power to create the law without Congress doing it.
I'm sorry, man. There's no reason anybody needs to have an automatic weapon. I'm sorry. I get everything else.
I'm going to jump in here and we're going to switch because I want to get to this for sure. Kelly, you have written a book, and you talk about the ups and downs of the campaign trail and what gets you through those more difficult times, and those are your best friends. And so you've written True and Constant Friends, and I want you to tell us about those friends and what your book is all about.
Well, the book is about 6 women that I've been friends with from the very first week of my freshman year in college. And so we've known each other since we were 18 years old. And, you know, we've been through every stage of life together. We're now all 52 years old. And we've met every year for a reunion weekend since we graduated in 1985. We live all over the country. None of us even live in the same city. And so that connection, that sort of touchstone every year has been such a support system to me. We're all very different. We have different points of view. I mean, it's much like this. You just have this incredible sounding board. But down deep, we just have this amazing core respect and love for each other. And that's just been so powerful to me. And I wanted to write about that friendship, but I also wanted to write about who inspired us and who made us who we are. And so the book goes back as much as 100 years with each friend. I write about my grandmother, and then I have them tell me stories of the women in their lives who really made them who they are. And through the experience of writing that book, I learned so much more about these friends that I never would have known otherwise.
Well, we want to thank you guys. I know
I have to ask you one more thing about the mock turtleneck sweaters that you wear. You're apparently
We got
famous
those,
for
Joy,
this.
actually.
I was born it today.
Yeah, but-
I was told I couldn't wear it.
What do you
So how do we go from mock turtle from talking about semis, or as Whoopi put it, automatic, right? Automatic. How do we go from that to turtlenecks? Like, what are we doing here? I thought this was a whole discussion on what's going on, the temperature around the country, what we're facing with these school incidences that keep happening. I thought that was the climate of this video.
Mrs. Paul, what do you think about that? Just a yes or a no.
It's a good look, but we just want to say thank you for being great sports. You guys are a lovely couple.
We talked about his wanting to pull troops out of Syria, and everyone saying, if we do that, we're abandoning the Kurds. That's not a good idea. And a lot of folks are saying he crossed the line with a bad decision, but you don't say that. Why?
You know, one of the things I've always supported about President Trump is actually one of the things I liked about President Obama, that we said we were overextended, that the Iraq war was a mistake. I think it's one of the reasons President Obama beat Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton had supported the Iraq war. I still think the Iraq war, regime change in the Middle East, and these wars are senseless. So does President Trump. He doesn't want to get us involved in another Iraq war in Syria. If anything, Syria is more complicated. The other is a practical concern. You have 50 soldiers. They're talking about moving 50 soldiers. Who goes to war with 50 soldiers? You have 50 soldiers and tens of thousands of Turkish troops amassing. The Turks are also allies. The Free Syrian Army were our allies for 7 years. They're allied with the Turks. The Kurds have been our allies. The Kurds, in all likelihood, are now going to be allies of Assad to try to carve out a place in Syria for themselves. It's a really complicated question. I guess from my perspective, I say, any of these people out here, their kids have to go to war. War's not a chess game. People lose their limbs and people die, and I think it's the least we owe to the kids that we're going to send into this war. Why are we going to war, and who are we fighting?
Agreed. I said the same thing about Russia and Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? I hoped it didn't have to happen, because whatever the reasoning Putin wants to say he's doing this for, whether it's to reinstate the Soviet Union, whatever the reason is behind it, it's people's, it's lives at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? You saw the faces. I had my children in the room with me that night it started, and just the mere sound of the bombs and everything going off in the gunfire had them shook. You know what I mean? I didn't expose them to too much, but I did let them know what was going on, because I felt I needed to do that as a parent. You know what I mean? But it had them shook, and their questions to me was, what about those people? What about the innocent lives? What about the children? What about, you know what I mean? The people, like that's what their concern was. You know, it's always somebody involved when you have a bigger agenda, but it's lives that are being affected that somehow gets lost in the shuffle to me, and that kind of irks me.
The least we owe to the kids that we're going to send into this war. Why are we going to war, and who are we fighting?
But isn't there...
So,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So if you have allies and they are working with you and fighting with you, and 24 hours somebody wakes up and says, "Oh, we're out." Right. Is that the right way to do this?
I think the way we look at war is we don't look at
no. Is that the right way to do it?
The question.
Okay.
When we decide whether or not we're sending our young people into harm's way, we should obey the Constitution, which says we should declare war and put them in a war theater. But let me finish.
Okay.
And here's the thing about it, is if you ask these people, Lindsey Graham and the Cheney war and all these warmongers that want to stay at war forever, who are we going to declare war on? They don't know who. We're going to declare war on Turkey, our ally,
should we
the
ever
Free Syrian
walk
Army,
out
our ally?
In the middle? It's like walking out.
We should never be there in the first place.
That's not the question. No, that's all good.
But see, the left agreed with me for so many years. For so many years, the left agreed with me.
I am neither left nor right. I'm just American. I want to know, should we be taking, should we be walking out on
But here's the thing is, left and right have agreed in the past that regime change doesn't work. When we got rid of Hussein, we got chaos and more terrorism. When we got rid of Gaddafi, chaos and more terrorism.
But Senator, we're here now, though.
But
we're here.
Yeah. We're not really here. We got 50 people. We're not
here.
doing
Yeah,
anything.
but frankly,
50 people
hold
is very
on.
symbolic.
Hold on.
And that is why
and
it kept
you tell their parents
Turkey
that.
from invading.
You tell their parents
Isn't that true?
You tell the parents of those 50 kids how great the symbolism was when a suicide bomber blows up all 50
But
kids.
didn't it
You
keep
tell them
Turkey
why-
from invading?
No, I'm not.
See, that was the argument I had about, all the fighting that was going on about what happened in Texas. What should we do about the gun laws? What should we make them stricter? Should we take them away? Or should they be allowed to have them in the back and forth? My thing always points to the parents, bro. You tell the parents of those kids that didn't come home from that school. You know what I'm saying? You tell them. Ask them how they feel right now. And I don't know, because we've talked about different things about what the solution could or could not be. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't have the answers, bro. You know what I mean? I don't have the answers. But what I do know is there's a lot of parents that wish they could turn back the hands of time and go back and not have that happen to their kids. And I'm praying it don't happen to mine, and I'm praying that it don't happen to yours. You get what I'm saying? So conversations like this are needed. Even though some people may feel like certain people on this panel don't have the knowledge and capabilities to have this discussion, cool, but they're having this discussion. The dialogue is progressing us forward if we can get past the whole automatic and semi-automatic funny blight that happened earlier. But nevertheless, these conversations, as cringy as they are, they gotta happen. They gotta happen.
When a suicide bomber blows up all 50
But
kids.
didn't it keep Turkey from invading?
No, I'm not.
Gave
you tell
Turkey
their parents.
the green light.
You tell their parents why they're there.
But isn't that true?
You tell their parents why they're there.
Isn't it true that Turkey did not
How do you feel about
we have?
How do you feel about the video that we're seeing of the Kurds getting slaughtered?
I find the position of pulling out of these wars, that's a popular one, and I am there. There's a difference in having a strategy and leaving the Kurds there to die, which is where they are now. They are left there to die, and that is now, here's what I'd argue. It's the GOP's problem.
That's simply wrong.
ISIS fighters, as being reported, thousands are going to escape from these prisons because the Kurds can't protect themselves. Up to 70,000, according to a NATO official.
What's the people who don't like the policy?
Is that a safer world with ISIS running around?
That's the people who want to stay forever. These are the same people.
I don't want to stay forever, but it's their
answering the question, okay? I let you talk, you let me talk. These are the same people, that would still have us in Vietnam. These are the same people who always say, stay at war, stay at war, stay at war. It has not helped us. We've been in Afghanistan for 19 years. The same people complaining about this. The Cheneys, Lindsey Graham, you know what they say about Afghanistan? It would be precipitous to leave. We've been there 19 years. There's no mission, and I'm not sending one more kid.
There's more
I'm not voting to send one more kid to Afghanistan.
Of breaking our word as Americans, of breaking our words to our allies, of having people who've risked their lives, who've been there for years. And what message does that send internationally to other allies if we abandon them?
I think the only duty we owe and the only oath I take is to the Constitution. I didn't promise to take the country to war. I promised not to take the country to war. So did President Trump, by the way.
But the Constitution says protecting you from enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
And there's many of us who feel that this puts us in greater danger because of what it means vis-a-vis ISIS. mean, we don't live, we're not alone on this planet.
And anybody who tries to make the argument that someone in Syria is a danger to our country is really not paying attention.
Oh, I think Assad is in Syria and is a hell of a danger to our country and our world.
Well, actually, if you look at the war is very complicated. So you had Assad on one side. On the other side, you had Sunni extremists, Al-Qaeda and al-Nusra. These are the people that have been allied with the Saudi version of Islam that has been promoting Islamism and Islamist strategy around the world and jihadism. That was the side of the war we were fighting. So if that side of the war actually won, I think we actually might be in more danger. I don't like Assad, but the other people on the other side are Sunni extremists that I don't like either.
How close is too close for Iran to be near Israel? Because this now creates a huge vacuum where Iran wants to take over Damascus, which is what they're now going to be capable of doing, and they're going to be that much closer to Israel, which is in fact one of our closest allies. Does that concern you at all?
I think the whole situation is so confusing that none of us are really getting this right. Actually, Turkey doesn't want Iran to take over everything. Israel doesn't want Iran to take over everything. And in fact, Israel actually stands up for themselves all the time.
They may end up being in a bigger war.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt. So Iran gets up against the border.
Sorry, Senator.
No, come on, man. If we're gonna have these dialogues, like I said, I'm not. You gotta let the person speak, and then you gotta let the person answer. How are we ever? This is like simple conversation 101. This is why we can't get nowhere, and it pisses me off sometimes, bro. If I give you the respect to let you ask me the question, at least give me the decency to answer it and let me get my point out before you cut me off. Let me get it out.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt. So Iran gets up against the border.
I'm sorry, Senator. I am interrupting because we...
They must have been about to go to break. But yeah, man, we got a long way to go. Bro. Just not. It's not going to be solved overnight. Everybody needs to have some sort of patience. I know everybody's anxious to get it done tomorrow, and it's not going to happen because we clearly all have different levels of understanding of what's going on. What wars are we fighting or not fighting? What gun laws, what type of guns we have apparently that are illegal here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's conversation, it's cringy conversations that gotta be had, but they have to be had so we can all get on the same page. We would be so dangerous, so dangerous as a group, as a collective, as a country, if we could all just, you know what I'm saying, at least appear to be on the same page to others outside of the country, bro. When they look over here at us, sometimes I feel like they say a huge divide. And you know what that makes us look? It makes us look weak. You know what I'm saying? I think they see a huge divide over here sometimes, man, and that's not good. And that's where I hope we can bridge that gap to where we look strong to others outside of our country, bro. So y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Rand Paul, he did correct. Humiliates, I don't think you humiliate. I don't even think you can humiliate Whoopi Goldberg, bro. We're talking about the person that played Color Purple. You can't humiliate her, but it was definitely funny to see him respond to her mess up right there. All right, but yeah, man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and stick around and stay tuned, man. Until next one, I'm gone. Peace.